everyone, my name is Rizky Rimbawan Asdi and I'm accompanied by Firma Afta Ghifary. And in this video, we will give you an explanation about what is a social research method. So let's get into it. So what's a social research? Well, in its definition, a social research is a method used by a social scientist or researchers to learn about people and socialize so that they can design products or services that cater to various needs of people. Different socioeconomic groups belonging to different parts of the country think differently though.
And various aspects of the human behavior need to be addressed to understand their thoughts and feedback about the social world, which can be done using social research. Any topic can trigger social research, new features, new market trend, or an upgrade in old technology.
And in social researches, of course, there's a type to it. So let's get into that. So there's a fourth type of social research. These four types are qualitative, quantitative, primary, and secondary research. So let's talk about the first research, which is the qualitative research. So a qualitative research is defined as a method to collect data by open-ended and conversational discussion. There are five main qualitative research. First is method ethnographic research. Second is focus groups. Third one is one-on-one online interview. Fourth, content analysis. And lastly is case study research. Usually, participants are not taken out of their ecosystem for qualitative data collection to gather information in real time, which help in building trust. Researchers depend on multiple methods to gather qualitative data for complex issues. So that is qualitative research. So we're moving on to quantitative research now. So quantitative research is an extremely informative source of data collection conducted by mediums such as surveys, polls, and questionnaires. The gathered data can be analyzed to conclude a numerical or statistical result. There are four distinct quantitative research methods. First is survey research. Second is correlational research. The third one is casual comparative research. And lastly is experimental research. This research is carried out on sample that is representative of the target market, usually using a closed-ended question, and data is presented in tables, charts, graphics, and etc. So that is quantitative research. Now we're moving on to the primary research that will be explained by Firma. Firma.
I will explain to you it's about the primary research and the secondary. So the primary research, what is the primary research? So primary research is conducted by the researchers themselves. They are a list of questions that a researcher intends to ask, which need to be customized according to the target market. These questions are sent to the respondent via surveys, polls, or questionnaires, so that analyzing that becomes convenient for the researcher. Since data is collected firsthand, it's highly accurate according to the requirement of research. And for the secondary research, so secondary research is a method where information has already been collected by the research organization or marketer. Newspaper, online communities, report, audio, visual evidence, and sector. Fall under the category of the secondary data after identifying the topic of research and research sources. The research can collect existing data and can collect existing existing data or information available from the not resource source. They can then combine all the information to compare and analyze it to derive conclusion. So we move to the example section, which will be explained by the Rizky first.
So let's talk about quantitative example for a second. So, for example, a survey can be conducted to understand climate change awareness among the general population. Such a survey will give in-depth information about people's perception about climate change, and also the behaviors that impact positive behavior. Such a questionnaire will enable the researcher to understand what needs to be done to create more awareness among the public. That's our the example for a quantitative example. So moving on to another example.
And for the example, primary research, I will give you an example. In United States, there are tens of thousands of deaths and injuries related to gun violence in the United States. We kept hearing about people carrying weapons, attacking general public in the news. There's quite a debate in the American public as to understand if possession of guns is the cause of this. Institutions related to public health or governmental organizations are carrying out studies to find the cause. A lot of policy are also influenced by the opinion of the general population, and gun control policies are not different. Hence, a gun control questionnaire can be carried out to gather data to understand what people think about gun violence, gun control factor, and effect of possession of firearms, such as survey can help this institution to make valid reports on the basis of the data gathered. And we're moving to social research methods.
So, after learning about the type of social research and its example, let us move on now to its method of research, which is. So there are 4 methods in social research. First one is survey. So a survey is conducted by sending a set of pre-decided questions to a sample of individuals from a target market. This will lead to a collection of information and feedback from individuals that belong to various backgrounds, ethnicities, age group, and etc. Now, there are various types of social research surveys, which are longitudinal, cross-sectional, and correlation research. So longitudinal and cross-sectional social research survey are an observational method, while correlational surveys are conducted with a different sample. So that's all the difference between those the various types of surveys. So let's moving on to the experiments, which will be explained by Firma.
Okay, so what is experiments? An experimental research is conducted by research to observe the change in one variable on another to establish the cause and effects of a variable. In experiments, there is a theory which needs to be proved or disproved by careful observation and analysis. An efficient experiment will be successful in building a cause-effect relationship while proving, rejecting, or disproving a theory. A laboratory and field experiment are preferred by research. And we're moving to the example of the survey will be explained by the Rizky.
So let's move on to the example of survey. So, for example, it has been observed in recent times that there is an increase in the number of divorce or failed relationships. The number of couples visiting marriage counselor or psychiatrist is increasing. Sometimes it gets tricky to understand what is the cause for a relationship falling apart. A screening process to understand an overview of the relationship can be an easy method. A marriage counselor can use a relationship survey to understand the chemistry in the relationships, the factors that influence the health of relationships, the challenge faced in the relationship, and expectation in a relationship. Such a survey can be very useful to deduce a various finding in a patient, and treatment can be done accordingly. And another example of surveys can be used for gather information of the awareness of disaster and disaster management programs. So a lot of institutions like the UN or the local disaster management team try to keep their communities prepared for disaster. Passing knowledge about this is crucial in disaster-prone areas, and it is a good type of a knowledge that can help everyone. In such cases, a survey can enable this institution to understand what are the areas that can be promoted more and what region need what kind of training. Hence, a disaster management survey can be conducted to understand public knowledge about the impact of disaster on communities and measures they undertake to respond to disasters and how the risk to be reduced. So, moving on to the last two of the methods, which is interviews and observation, that will be explained by Firma.
And I will explain to you it's about the interviews and the observation is the last of the two methods in social research. So the technique of the gathering opinions and feedback by asking selected questions face-to-face via telephone or online medium, it's called interview research. There are formal and informal interviews. Formal interviews are the ones which are organized by the research with structure, open-ended and close-ended questions, and format will informal interviews are the ones which are more of conversation with the participant and are extremely flexible to collect as much information as possible. The last one is observation. In observational research is expected to involve in the daily life of all the participants to understand their routine, their decision-making skill, their capability to handle pressure, and their overall likes and dislikes. Those factors and recorded and carefully observation are made to decide factors such as whether a change in law will impact their lifestyle or whether a new feature will be accepted by individuals. And I will explain to you about the example of the interview in social research. Yeah, so example of interview in social research are sociological studies that are conducted to understand how religious people are. To this effect, a mass survey can be used by the study to understand from the laity and the research they attend mosques and if it meets their religious needs. And that's it for me.
And so that's it from us. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and share the video and give a thumbs up. And that's all from us. Thank you very much. My name is Rimbawan Asdi, and
I, Firma Afta Ghifary.
We thank you for watching this video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you guys for watching this video.